The Bills rookie goes offside, 3rd and 7, makes it 3rd and 2. Neutral zone infraction, actually. The Titans convert that play. 2 plays later, Derrick Henry runs it in for a touchdown. They lose yet again. Could have started Jonnu Smith over Jimmy Graham. Could have won. Made that decision on Thursday because I didn't think the Titans were going to play. Jimmy Graham played on Thursday, had an okay game. No, that's not how it's going to go. We're not going to be sad. We're going to look to the future because you know what, guys? It's the Rival Recap Show. It's Gentlemen's Club Football all day, all the time. And you know what? I'm not staying down. We're going to go into my matchup. And, I lost 128 to 123. Charlie with a pretty nice week. He pulled it on the end. Derrick Henry, I mean, I didn't think I was going to win coming into last night. You know, it was Diggs versus Henry. I think he had like a 5-point buffer. And, I mean, Diggs only beat Henry by 1 point. So I lost. But, hey, it was a good match. My team put up 123. I mean, I'm still not mad about that. That's still pretty damn good, even with my running backs combining for 13 points. Amari Cooper with his worst week of the season, only throwing up 4. Dak's hurt now. That might be not great, but who knows? I think the... What do they call Andy Dalton? Something, the Red Rocket, or I don't even know. Who knows? That was fucking, I don't know. Anyway, but Charlie, I mean, Dak's out. That's going to suck. Thielen with a nice week. Robbie Anderson showed that he's clearly a good receiver in this league, and he's a wide receiver too. And, I mean, even T.Y. did all right for you with 13 points. And Madison on your bench with 17. Dalvin Cook's up in the air. I think he's not supposed to play this week. I don't know the severity of the injury, but hey, that's got to be looking up for you, Charlie. 3-2, looking good. Going on to the next matchup, guys. We got Kevin Lamb versus Jones. I mean, guys, I might be 1-4, but at least I'm not Jones right now. 64.5 points. I mean, that is horrific. This is Jones of 2 years ago right now. I mean, even Eric wasn't putting up this in the first few weeks of this season with that roster he was putting out. 64 points, guys. I mean, everything was going wrong. Lamar with only 13 points. Malcolm Brown, 3. Kenyon Drake, 13. Ridley's your only shining spot with 21. Deontay Johnson leaving the game with 0.8. That sucks. Dalton Schultz not doing shit. Lockett had an off week. I think that he had one long catch and he yelled, boom. What do you have, 4 catches for 44 yards? Chiefs defense, -1. I mean, Jones, 64 points. That's horrible. Nothing more to say there. Hopefully you can turn it around. Not much going on your bench. You had a few buys. So, I mean, all the Lions were on bye. You have 3 fucking Lions. So that in itself is probably an issue. But hey, wheel of misfortune. Other side, 141. I believe he was the high scorer of the week. Yes, he was. Kevin Lamb, 141 this week. Great week. Just great performances from everybody, guys. I mean, Travis Kelce leading the way with 25 points. Then he had 18, 19, 19, 15, like from his key players, and can't really ask for much more than that. 141 points. Excellent win. Kevin Lamb is now 3-2, moving into 5th place. Kept Ian falling to 10th. Next matchup, guys, we got Tony versus Lynch, guys. Lynch pulling a win here, 114 to 100. Excellent stuff. I thought your team was seriously in the dumps, but your running back came alive. Todd Gurley's actually been pretty fucking good this year. You know what? You got him in the 4th round, and for his production, that was actually damn good value, I will say. I mean, he's had a good week the last few weeks, and hopefully he continues that for you. Myles Gaskin, 20 points. Deshaun Watson, 24, and Slayton, 20.9. Lynch, you said Slayton was your worst draft pick a few weeks ago to Joe. I think we were all just trying to shade the Giants a little bit there, but 114 points. Pretty solid week, better than you've been putting up, let me tell you that, and hopefully you can get Michael Thomas back. I believe he's on bye this week upcoming, but you'll get him back after that if he doesn't ruin his whole locker room. Doesn't seem like he's ruining yours quite yet, though, but other side, Tony, I mean, you had Mahomes with 29, you had Hopkins with 25. Hopkins might be wide receiver 1. He's been on fire recently. I mean, I don't even say on fire. We played the Jets, whatever. But, hey, Andrews with a nice week, but hey, you only put up 100. Your running backs were absolute stinkers. Gio Bernard, 1.4. Jerick McKinnon, 2.5. Debo, 4 points. Oof. Flex in the tight end with Ebron. I might be doing that this week. And 7 points out of him isn't going to do it. 100 points. Tony takes the loss. Falls to 2 and 3. He's in 11th. Lynch is actually in 12th. So here we are, guys. And this was a good matchup, guys. We got Joe versus Christian. 2 teams that are currently sitting in the top 4. And Joe takes the win, 136 to 125. Nice win for Joe. I mean, I believe he had someone last night. A.J. Brown, 21 points. I believe it was A.J. Brown versus Devin Singletary last night was what it was really coming down to. Devin Singletary with only 4 points. A.J. Brown with 21 points. making that trade just look even better for Joe. J.K. Dobbins for A.J. Brown. I mean, hey, it's only 1 week back, but he's their wide receiver one, especially if Corey Davis doesn't figure out COVID or whatever is going on with him. A.J. Brown is going to be their number one target going forward, and it's still a shocker, the Dobbins for Brown. But hey, Joe with just nice weeks all around, Mixon and Jacobs with solid weeks, Woods with 17, Greg the Leg with 12, other side. I mean, Christian, you didn't do bad. You've been putting up, I feel like you've been putting up between 120 and 135 points every week. I feel like you haven't gone past that. You haven't gotten like to the 140 exceptional like level, but your team's great. Great performances out of everybody. Zeke with 23 is awesome, but your receivers 18, 19, tight end 15, flex 13. It's like, it's what you want. I mean, it's what you want. You took a loss here, but you're 4-1. You're still in first place, and you're looking good. Let's go on to the next matchup, guys. This was another pretty tight one. It was Sedano versus Sklar. It was a 7-point gap, 129.4 to 122.4, and we got Sedano, Kyler Murray, 26 points. Mike Davis, 29.9 points. Oh, he's been amazing for you. Didn't you just love that you had the number one waiver? Because that was perfect for you, and he's gets you a win here, I'd say, and hopefully that'll end next week. I'm hoping McCaffrey can come off the IR. If not, I might trade him, guys. I might trade him. I don't know. McCaffrey is a big headache for me at the moment, but we will hopefully I can figure something out before Sunday. Lev Bell not being on my team. Sorry, I'm not even talking about my team at this point, but Lev Bell not on a team is going to be interesting to watch this week as well, so I'm really in for it. Anyway, guys, back to this matchup. Sklar on the other side. I mean, Breeze had 21. Chase Edmonds had 20. When you had to, your Aaron Jones was on bye, you had to start your third running back, and he puts up 20 points. You can't really ask for much more. Terry with only 5. Zach Ertz with 1.6. 49ers D to the Dolphins, -2. 43-17. That game was a blowout. Fitzmagic, guys. Fitzmagic. It's real. But hey, Sedano gets a win. He had good performances out of most of his guys. Justin Jefferson, not too great, but doesn't matter. 129. He moves into 9th place. Sklar falls back to 3rd. And we are going to the next matchup, guys. We have Rast versus Eric, and it was 110 to 86. Eric, after his 140-point week, he's back to his stinker ways, guys. 86 points. That sucks. Daniel Jones with 8. His running backs with 15 apiece. That's pretty decent. Not much going from the receiving core. And what do you get? 86 points. Rast, other side, only with 110. But hey, 110 was more than enough for a win this week. Dalvin Cook going down is a little worrisome. It looked like he tried to come back in that game. They played him like a player, and then they were just like, no. So, I mean, he was moving, so I don't think it's that bad, but he definitely might miss a week or two. And, I mean, you got your guy J.K. Dobbins to slide right in there. So, yeah, Rast, Manny Sanders carrying the way for you with 24 points. That's awesome stuff. And, I mean, yeah, you get a win, 110 points. Not much more to say. And we're on to the final matchup of the week, and another one that came down to last night's game. Also, before I even go, Rast must have been hammered last night, because I understood what he was trying to say, like, if you just took it the phrase as a whole, but, like, that was some of the worst English I've ever fucking seen. Like, I when Joe said, what, LOL, I was thinking the exact same thing, because, I knew what he was trying to say, but figured it out. Anyway, guys, last matchup we got Mike versus Ortiz, and this one came down, as I said, to last night's game. Ortiz was all pouty and mad, as I am every single week, so I can't really say much shit, but hey, he goes down 122 to 118. I mean, Ortiz had pretty good performance out of his guys. Hayden Hurst 2.8 sucks. Miles Sanders had a great week. Teddy was a good fill-in for Rodgers. Kamara still put up 20. I'm sure he's still the number one fantasy player. But Mike, other side, I'm seeing double-digit performances of everybody but your defense. The Eagles was a really bad pickup. I thought Ortiz made a good move by dropping them this week, and then you picked them up. I mean, Pittsburgh's good, so I don't know. But they got -1. Mike, you still won. It didn't matter. I feel like you were trying to be petty with that pickup. This was your guys' rivalry week. I'm calling it Weston versus Ortiz. Weston takes it this year. Got to sting a little bit for Ortiz, but you know what? It can't sting as bad as being 1-4 in 13th place. So, without further ado, guys, that's it this week. Hopefully I brought the beat up from the beginning, and we're going to send it over to Joe. I didn't even answer Safe Space this week. I couldn't even be bothered. I'm sure Eric hasn't answered it at least one of the weeks out of the season. I was a little fucked up last night, and I think he said following up here, something that Joe normally says, and I just put my phone down. I was like, I couldn't even give a shit. But hey, we're going to send it over to Joe. Hopefully you guys made some good submissions. Hopefully I made up for it with this episode. Thank you. Over to Joe. Whoa, guys. We got a quick alert before we send it to Joe. Sorry, Joe, I'm adding this in because we got a trade. Guys, we have Michael Thomas moving to Kevin Lamb's team. In return, let's see it, guys. Let's see it. Oh, my gosh. Michael Thomas and Scott Miller for Robert Tonyan, Hollywood Brown, and Darrell Henderson. Lynch getting 3 guys he can probably start for Michael Thomas, who's going to be on bye. Oh boy, this just got exciting. Oh, wow. All right then. Joe.
Thank you, Marsh. Gentlemen, welcome back to a special Wednesday edition of Safe Space. Light the candle. So this week's open is about defining whether or not in the past 4 years of our league there's been some formula of success. Right? A lot of the safe space stuff that we've done so far this year is talking about league strategies between different owners and, different types of strategy, whether it be trades, draft, or free agent stuff. So what I did this week is I reached out to the Champions Club, being Eric, Christian, Weston, and Charlie, and talked to them about the league the year that they won the league and, what kind of stood out to leading them to winning the league last year or that year. So we'll start off with Charlie. Charlie had a really good draft. He hit on his first 3-round picks. He had Mike Thomas, who was fucking unbelievable last year. Kelsey was a stud in the second round. And Chris Carson, people forget when he was healthy, he was really good last year. And then he had a couple late gens on top of that. He had Will Fuller, who dropped 56 against me at one point last year. And he had DK Metcalf, who came on at the end of the year. So Charlie had a mix of a really good draft, and he also made really one key trade, and everyone knows it was with Rass, where he got Aaron Jones, who was super clutch during the playoffs. But what Charlie wanted to call out was that, people don't realize that Rass actually got the more points in that trade. However, Charlie's team was so deep because his draft was so good that he was able to give 2 to 3 guys that were, partially in his starting lineup, partially in his bench to upgrade his starting lineup. So I think in some of Charlie's team or Charlie's league was good draft, one good trade. Michael Weston 2 years ago. So this is the year after Weston's first year where he just got smashed in the league. He said driving force was hours and hours of draft research, including one important George Kittle article. He had a couple key waiver pickups during the year. Gio Bernard, Tony started this week. Gio Bernard, believe it or not, won 2 games, and he had Jamal Williams pop off in the championship. I gotta look that up. I do not recall Jamal Williams ever being good. He traded Sklar for a risky Fournette, and he also admitted that luck was a key part of his draft. So of his win. So in that year that he won and in that trade with Sklar for Fournette, he actually offered Sklar either George Kittle or David Njoku and Chris Thompson for Fournette, and Sklar took Njoku instead of Kittle. So he got lucky there. And lastly, Corey Davis. Everyone knows Weston's lucky charm. So Weston's season, it wasn't a huge trade like Charlie made. It seemed like it was really good drafting, really good waiver pickups. That was probably his driving force and a key trade here and there. And luck. We all need luck. All right, 3 years ago, Christian Borelli, the least talked about champion, I feel. So Christian, all about the draft. He drafted Todd Gurley that year, and that was the year after Todd Gurley tore his ACL. So he's coming off a down year, and Christian got him in the second or third round, and Todd Gurley just went the fuck off in the playoffs. Christian said he averaged 40 points per playoff game, which carried Christian to the title. So pretty simple there. You just got to draft a stud somewhere along the league. And, once every few years, there's that one player in fantasy that carries teams to championships. And that's what it was for Christian. And then lastly, in the first year, Eric Olson won. And Eric, he had a solid draft. He picked up Jordy Nelson in the third round. I guess he did really good. He said DeMarco Murray in the 8th round. I guess that was the year DeMarco Murray was on the Titans and did decent. I don't remember. He had a key waiver pickup. He picked up Jordan Howard. Jordan Howard's rookie year when he was actually good. And I picked him in the first round next year. He fucking sucked. And then lastly, he had a fucking big trade win with Charlie Correa, who I had a trade win with earlier that season. I traded Matt Forte for Ezekiel Elliott, which is why Charlie's old name was 40-40 Club, Forte Club. But so Eric had recognized that Charlie needed to win towards the end of the season, and LaShawn McCoy had a midweek injury. So he traded Mike Gillisley to Charlie, who Charlie needed because he needed a running back, and Stephon Diggs for Dak Prescott and Des Bryant, which carried Eric to a championship versus me. So Eric's championship season was pretty well rounded. He had the trade, he had the draft, and he had the waiver pickup. But in some, I would say that there's no formula. We've gotten guys that's done it with a trade. We've gotten guys that've done it with the draft, and we've gotten guys who've done it with everything, a mix of all. So we'll see what shakes out this year. Let's get started to this week's Safe Space. All right, we're rolling best team, worst team. And for the first time this year, we have a repeat best team, and that is Mr. Christian Borelli, who I fucking beat this week. What the hell, guys? No, but Christian, deservedly so, is only 4-1 team, so he stays in first place in the league and therefore stays best team. However, Christian beat you in the McGuire Bowl this week, and in typical fashion of the McGuire Bowl, it bounced back and forth between you and I, and then back and forth a few other times. But no, Christian, we'll see if you could stay there. No injury luck. We'll see if that continues. Worst team. We have a new worst team. Lynch was it last week. Eric was the first few weeks. But Mr. Ian Jones, our commissioner, is voted worst team. Ian, you've had some votes here for fraud good, so I'll save it for you. But 64 points this week. Yikes. You were the 4th seed going into this week. We'll see where you shake out when the standings refresh tomorrow. Alright. Updating the panic button. Ian, I said that you got fraud good votes. You did get fraud good votes, but you got a shit ton of panic button votes, including yourself. We had a ton of people this week voting for themselves for the panic button. So Ian said Commissioner Jones referred to himself in third person, needs to press the panic button because he put up 64 points this week. Another person mentioned those 64 points and asked Big Data Analytics, knock knock, hello, can you look that up if that was the lowest point score of all time? It's gotta be close, right? 64 is fucking brutal. That's an average of 6.4 points per starter. We have 10 starters, right? Yikes. And other people said, just Ian, you gotta make a move. I mean, we've talked about Kenyon Drake on this segment plenty of times. I think his window of selling high is gone. Lamar's average, can I say that? I think he is. You have those in and out receivers, Ridley, Lockett, Gallup, no Dak, I don't know who the fuck other running backs you have, but they can't be good. And I don't know who your tight end is. So we'll see if Ian will pull the trigger. I asked him to last week on this segment, and I didn't see a trade go through, so we'll see if it's too little, too late. Charlie, you got 3 votes to hit the panic button, and Charlie voted for himself here. So Charlie, Dak, nasty injury, done for the year. Chubb's hurt. We talked about how Charlie seems thin already. We'll see if he can survive. He's got about 5 weeks to survive until Chubb comes back. He'll fill in a quarterback, and if he makes a playoff and things get healthy, we'll see. But Charlie might be hitting the panic button. Marsh, we got 2 votes for you to press the panic button. So Marsh is 1-4. That is sole possession of second and last place, 13th place in our league. Obviously McCaffrey's been out. He needs to win this week. He can't go 1-5. I'm pretty sure he can't go 1-5 and make the playoffs. But Russ is a bye, which doesn't look good. Amari Cooper is best active player. Now doesn't have Dak, so who knows if that's good. Le'Veon doesn't have a fucking team. I don't know who his other running backs are. Fucking Marsh ripped me last week for maybe being a little too aggressive in trade talks with him. But Marsh, I told you, you can't lose this week, and things aren't looking good this week. We'll see if Marsh makes a deal. Probably won't happen with me, but we'll see if he can stay alive. Rass, you got 1 vote. Someone said Cook's injured. groin injuries are like hammy injuries. They hang around. Cook's had an injury history in the past, so that might linger. And you really don't have deep running backs, so that could be an issue. And lastly, Sklar's pressing the panic button on himself. Oh, actually, we have two more. Sklar's pressing the panic button on himself just because he hates Zach Ertz. And Ortiz got to vote for the panic button because someone said he's going to get raped soon. So Ortiz, I'm glad this was brought up. James Ortiz is like 5 starting running backs on his team. And in this fucking economy where I would say half our league needs a running back, it's dumbfounding to me how he hasn't made a trade. Who knows? Maybe he's holding on, nervous that his guys are going to get injured and wants a depth. But you'd think the deals are going to be there. And, I mean, this person just thinks that James can't pull off the deal and it's going to go south for him. We will see. Okay, fraud, good votes. Ian, you got 3. Like I said, you were 4 going into this week. I think you're going to shake out probably to out of the playoffs. Now, you might stay in because you have that tie. But one person said you should be 0-5. That might be a little harsh. Ian should change his team name to Fraud Good. I don't know. I think Ian's going to try and make a deal this week. I don't know what assets he has to trade. Does anyone want Kenyon Drake? Call up Ian if you do. Charlie, you got to vote for being Fraud Good. 2 votes. One person said the rug will be swept out of him soon. I feel like every week one comment is the rug will be swept out of you. I don't even know what that means. The second comment was he has a team destined for injury and now Dak is DOA. What does DOA stand for? Live Google on Safe Space. DOA acronym. This is bad content. Dead on arrival. Yeah, that was an ugly, nasty injury. Ras, you got 2 votes for Fraud Good, including himself. Easy strength schedule. We'll see if Ras can hold on, but like the vote earlier said, no Dalvin Cook, so what the fuck, Ras? Ortiz, you got to vote for Fraud Good. I don't really believe it. You got Kamara and Sanders and decent receivers. As long as they're there, you're fine. Charlie got to vote for Fraud Good. That kind of makes sense to his panic button vote. Live injuries, no death. Sklar, gotta vote for Fraud Good. I like Sklar's team, but benefited from an easy schedule, now can't buy a win. 2 losses in a row, Sklar? Christian, I did not vote for this, I swear. Christian got a vote for Fraud Good. No debt, and his injury luck will run out. You know, I will say Christian's team is very good, but he's one of the few, if not only team, that has absolutely had no injuries so far. So injuries, the injury bug hits Christian, he might be falling in the standings. All right, who are our dangerous sleepers? So weird year so far throughout 5 weeks. We have Christian at the top of standings at 4-1. We have Marsh and Eric at the bottom of the standings at 1-4 and 0-5. And then everybody fucking else is in between 3-2 and 2-3, with Johnny and Ian being 2-2 and 1 with that tie. So league's fucking open, boys. These next few weeks are absolutely huge for the people or the teams that pull apart into the playoff race and the teams that fall behind and are probably going to be eliminated from playoff contention. So, you know, out of all those teams, who does the league think is actually good? Weston, 3 votes. Weston, I've talked about your team in a positive light over the last couple of weeks, despite the Saquon injury, but people like your team. It's very deep. The quote here was his team might be better than Ortiz's. Weston voted for himself here, so whatever. Eric is 0-5. He voted for himself. That's all I have to say. I love the self-confidence. If you make the fucking playoffs, Eric, at 0-5, you're only 2 games out, technically. So it's like the Giants. You, Eric, change your name to the New York Giants because you are 0-5. You're both 0-5, but only 2 games out, baby. Half glass full. Kevin Lamb putting up a lot of points. Like Kevin's team. Marsh, 1 vote. Can't sleep on CMC or and the Marsh. Yeah, I mean, that's true, Marsh. If you can survive the CMC injury and you get back on a roll, it was only 4 weeks ago where you smacked me and you got voted #1 team. So we'll see. I agree with that. If Marsh can get into the playoffs, he might cause some fucking problems. Sedano, 2 votes. Same thing here. Sedano's dealing with injuries now, but they're not season-ending injuries. If Ecker comes back, Sedano might be able to stir up some shit. I got a vote. I like my team. We'll see what happens when Godwin finally gets healthy. Tony got a vote. Tony's rolling with Marula. Yeah, Tony's rolling with Marula. Tony's rolling with Mahomes, Hopkins, and then just a jambalaya of players, but he's gotten fucked with the COVID stuff this year, so we'll see what happens when Tony finally gets his full roster back. And lastly, Charlie voted for himself here. Quote, if I make the playoffs, the big three of Chubb, Henry, and Thielen can be dangerous. It can be dangerous, but that's not that scary of a big three, I will say. That might come back to bite me. We'll see. All right, and we are ending with safe space submissions. We're taping in one fucking take this week, so this episode might suck. Sorry, but it's late and I'm fucking tired. Quote, Ortiz has absolutely no plan. We talked on this earlier, Ortiz. It seems like a lot of people are talking trades with Ortiz, but can't get him to do a deal, and they're pissed at him for it. That's my assessment. James, feel free to chime in the group chat tomorrow if that's true. Or maybe he just doesn't have a fucking plan and is running around with like a chicken with no head. That's definitely possible with James. Sorry. Quote, excited to play Marsh with Russell Wilson on a bye. Makes sense. Even more excited to not have to see Pete Carroll for a week. I don't mind Pete Carroll. I think he's a handsome old man. Sidebar, NFC West. Hottest division coach-wise. Pete Carroll, Cliff Kingsbury, Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan. You don't get those type of takes in other fantasy football shows. Quote, ha ha ha, same fucking shit. Quote, I'll make Ortiz taste regret this week. So this is kind of just goes back to what I was just talking about. People are pissed at Ortiz. We'll see. We'll see. I think James's team's good. Quote, 7 p.m. games are great. Yeah, it was nice. Quote, I will press the panic button if I lose this week. Really infuriating pedestrian week. So I came from Tony. So we have Tony mentioning he might press the panic button. We have Sklar mentioning he might press the panic button. We have Charlie mentioning he might press the panic button. And we have Ian mentioning he might press the panic button. Do it. Quote, looking forward to playing in the expansion team derby this week with Rast. So Weston, our 13th member, and Rast, our, 15th member, are playing this week. I like the name for that, the expansion team derby. Quote, Eric, I've been voting for your team as worst team all season. Hopefully I can back it up. And then to end, I am playing Mr. Kevin Lamb this week. Kevin, there's been some rumors, murmurings, whispers, whatever how you want to call it, that you are in the market for an engagement ring. Congratulations. Well, Kevin, I just wanted to be the first to assure you that that will be the only ring you will be getting this year. I look forward to our matchup. Gentlemen, have a great week. It's a short week because today's Tuesday, tomorrow's Wednesday. We're moving along. Godspeed, fellas. Morning edition to Safe Space, Matt Lynch. Have a good day, fellas.